Well, good to have you, sir, on the program. Well, this debate about educational qualification in Nigeria, is it not beginning to emerge, appear, like much ado about nothing? Because the Constitution is very clear. Section 131, with regard to presidential candidates, Section 177, sub D, with regard to senators and members of the National Assembly. Other relevant sections are Section 65, sub 2, and Section 106, D of the 1999 Constitution. In all of those sections of the Constitution, with regard to qualification for high office in Nigeria, there's nowhere it is said that you must present a PhD certificate. There's nowhere it is said that you have to even pass CUSAT. It's just an attempt. It just shows that you attempted to go to school. And in section, I think, 138, which is the interpretation section, INEC may just say because you can speak English, or because you can wear a suit, or you look intelligent, you are qualified to be anything in Nigeria. And yet we spend so much time, over 30 years now, on, you have to produce primary school certificate, you have to produce secondary school certificate. Isn't this much ado about nothing? Or do you think that we need to review the Constitution so that we can even have people who have certificates as the one running us, running the country, not people, whose antecedents are so vague and you don't know. In China, they run that country with the most intelligent people in the country. That's why they have the Politburo. You have to be properly educated to aspire to lead China. In Japan, it's the same thing. But here in Nigeria, we run with touts and mechanics and all kinds of people. So if we don't change the law, why are we wasting time? Let us, who is the lowest qualified person in this company, who can be president of Nigeria. So please, is this something we should be worrying about when our law says otherwise?
Let's begin with the law. The law is clear, as you have said. But you see, I'm less concerned about the presentation of certificates as such. In all the countries you have listed, it's not just the qualification in a sterile form. In China, you can not just come from nowhere. You start from the very word and you climb. They have a very, very clear leadership selection process that you go through many years before you get to that point. So that by the time you get to the point of leadership, everything is known about you. Everything is scrutinized. That's not what we have here. Of course, the Constitution is there. It is not perfect. No Constitution in the world is perfect. But I want to move away from focusing just on the qualification. You see here, we practice a brand of politics that is different from all those countries you listed. China, Japan, all other countries you can think of. Theirs is different. Now, come to our own. Why are we so worried? Yeah, maybe Senator Ndume is right. But you see, it's not just the message. Often it is the messenger. When we talk about the qualifications, in the US, for example, you can choose to homeschool your children. But at some point, you go to take what they call the high school equivalency exam, which is basically our O-level. That is an equivalency. Although you are homeschooled, you go to the state to authorize, certify that your level of education is more or less equivalent to high school, which is senior secondary school here. Now, why are we scrutinizing? Because we are entitled to that. Whoever should lead us should have a clear history, devoid of ambiguities, devoid of doubts and so on. While Ndume is correct, but in sense so constitutionally, but it speaks to the person. It speaks to the qualification. It speaks to suitability. If you cannot tell a straight story. Unfortunately for us, we have been fixated on what someone called the diploma disease, that you have to have gone to school, you have to have gone to primary school, secondary school, and so on and so forth. If, on the other hand, you have not, we need a story. The story will now back up the constitutional provisions that INEC can determine. So I think it works both ways. While Ndume is correct, it's not totally correct, because we need a story, and that story needs to be as clear as possible. Are the certificate stories exaggerated? Yeah. But what of the schooling? What have you done to get to that level? And I think Nigerians are entitled to ask questions about that. If I stand for election, everything will be known about me. Someone says, if you don't want, I think it was the Ibadan strongman, if you want to know who went out with your mother before she got married, get into politics. So as the president himself, it's a fair game to ask questions. He said it himself. And it's true. So those who ask questions are entitled to ask, and they have a point. That if you are presenting yourself for election to the highest office in Nigeria, holding lies together, being the commander-in-chief, and I think it is in that regard, it is legitimate to ask questions. And of course, we should ask, if the primary and secondary schools are not there, let's know why, and let's not have stories that keep changing with the weather, like the English weather.
Well, thank you so much, Professor Baba. I can understand you're an academic yourself, and also it's beyond the academic qualification as you've submitted. It's about integrity, it's about accountability, and that's what the people are asking for, beyond just how qualified you are. But let me ask a question. The Nigerian electorate, do they care about these details? What is priority for the Nigerian electorate when it comes to deciding who their leader is? Because without this information being revealed, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu made it to becoming president. So he could argue that, well, it didn't matter in 2023, so why should I bother now? What is the Nigerian electorate looking for, and what ought they be looking for?
The Nigerian electorate is not an amorphous group that have the same interests and so on. They are in segments, into sections. Now, if we want to talk about the electorate, let's talk about intersectionality. The average person in the street is probably mesmerized about all this. What matters to them is the effect of good governance. At the end of the day, is the person on top able to deliver good governance that satisfies welfare, health, education, housing, transportation, and so on. I think the vast majority of our population are more concerned about the impact on governance on their everyday life than the actual qualification of the person in power. We have gone through this before with General Buhari, late General Buhari. All hopes were this was a no-nonsense anti-corruption guy and who would move the country forward. It did not exactly happen, if you want me to be polite. So at the end of the day, what goes into my pocket? At the end of the day, how is my family protected? At the end of the day, would my wife go to the hospital and expect service? At the end of the day, would my children stay home or go to school? Will they receive quality education? So for the generality of the population, yes. But for you and I elites, yeah, we can quibble about all these things. So the electorate is divided into two. And I think I will go with the vast majority. They want to know the impact on their lives. And let's face it, the impact of this governance on the citizens in the last 4 years has not exactly been pleasant, no matter what anybody will tell you about micro-statistics and so on.
Professor, why is it so difficult for any candidate to present their results and their certificate from primary school to university and like they claim they have it? Why is it so difficult? Why is it that we've had candidates that the results they presented many years ago, the school they listed many years ago, is no more commensurate with today? Why is this so difficult? And these people want to lead other people. And these people claim they did well in school. Why is it so difficult for them to present any legal paper that show their history in another country of the world as a personal dedication to the Nigerian people they want to lead? Why is it so difficult? It's not about the results. It's not about the certificate. It's about the honesty to present it forward. That's what we are asking here. Why is this so difficult? Because see, that is more critical than any national debate on subsidy or anything you want to have. If somebody that want to lead a nation can't present his past, his history without a prompting, he goes to court to defend the releasing of his past and history. And we say we have a country. What kind of country do we have there? We don't have a country. We have a joke. Why is it difficult, sir? That's the question here.
Like I said, yeah, let me answer you as best as I can. Obviously, your question is best directed at the candidate, but as an ordinary citizen, I will tell you why is it difficult. It's difficult because of the nature of politics we prepare, we play. That's number one. Number two is all about the leadership selection process, that all kinds of people can come in and aspire for the highest leadership. Dr. Abati talked about China. China, by the time you get to that point, everything is known about you. There is nothing to hide. You are filtered through the process, through the selection process. We don't have it here. Our politics and many other things about us are always flexible. You can bend things. It's all about us. It's all about me. And if you look at the country, and what is going on. No institution is going straight. You can ask similar questions about the judiciary. So many people have felt.
This certificate of 18, I don't understand. I don't know why Nigeria they waste time. You understand? Now, it don't take, since when this certificate of 18 start? Now, since when they start this democracy? You understand? Still, they see a less Jagaban, they see a letter. So, make that your as in it don't the constitution. You understand? Unless they change that constitution, unless they change normal level. You understand? But at least normal level as a country where they work. You understand? If you not get a degree, you not feel rule. You understand? You not feel rule. So that's why I argue with full politicians. So that's why I argue with full politics. You understand? That's why they fool up. Well, it's weird.